Just to be clear, I'm a huge fan of this technology, but if it's developed with the intention to actually help us, not to create deep fakes and not to create like useless content to, just to steal our attention. What is really also alarming for me, but that we don't know about the long-term effects on the environment. And this is where I bring the topic of digital ecology by trying to make sure that this discourse about new technologies is balanced. In terms of digital, we have two different types of a footprint. First one is an operational footprint, which is associated with all the actions that we are processing. Like when you browser anything online, there is this mystical cloud, which are actually other computers that are processing your request. And here, with this footprint, we have associated the energy consumption, also the water footprint, which is the consumption of water also is associated when we trying to cooling down the whole system. Because I highly recommend at least once in your lifetime to go to the data center and, just to deep dive and see how is it from the inside. Because this infrastructure is, first of all, highly energy greedy, and also because it works like 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we need to also cool down the system. And for that, we are using water, which is in a constant circulation. But the thing here is where is the source of the water comes from. And usually, most of the data centers, they are using resources from groundwater. And there are also a lot of discussion and also, in the public sphere, also a lot more and more activists are involved in actually banning setting up the new infrastructure because of the lack of resources like water. And that's the first layer. And then we have the second footprint, which is called embedded footprint, which is associated with the production of a hardware, like your laptop, your smartphone, everything, all the devices that allows you to, to process, to generate, and to consume data. And if we're going to look from the very, very beginning of the whole process, the whole life cycle of our electronic devices, we have to, put under consideration all the metals, minerals, again, water footprint associated with mining. Then all the footprint associated with supply chains and everything that is required to produce and to later on sell those products. And what is really highly important as well, which is usually we do not take this aspect under the consideration, is how we dispose our all electronic devices, how also they affect the environment when they are thrown away. So the thing with carbon footprint is that it's not holistic. And then we do not we measure carbon footprint, but we forget about the water footprint. We forget about the loss of biodiversity. And so, all those organizations and especially now big corporations, they are measuring the footprint, putting it on the report, and they feel like we're done. And actually the problem is much broader. The problem is much complex. And, they are using it as a kind of, I don't know how to call it, this kind of excuse, kind of a tool that, allow them to say, okay, we've done something good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It's just a peak of an iceberg. And I think if we really want to solve the problems we are facing nowadays, we have to really dive deeper. Electronic waste that we are generating, and that with this transition, right? That electronic waste is so complex as a waste, and it's so hard, to extract and put electronic back again, those resources from electronic in the circulation or again back in the market. And we are producing like crazy amounts of smartphones. Last year, new model of a smartphone were introduced like for each week. So imagine each week there is new model of a smartphone in the market, and like a typical lifespan of a smartphone is like 2 to 3 years. And I think this is also the huge problem here, that we don't understand the whole system. We don't understand its complexity. And we, especially here in Europe, we don't see like the long-term consequences of our lifestyle, of environmental effects of using type of a software that actually contributing to this issue, because almost 50% of when customer make a decision to change a smartphone or the computer is caused by lack of a support for the software. So also the way, what kind of a software you're using, how it is developed, also contributing to the way how long and what is the life cycle of electronic devices. It's interrelated. Ecology is about harmony. It's about making sure that this relationship between software and hardware is balanced in a way. Just like I gave you the example that most of the cases when people decide to throw away their hardware is because of the software not being supported. So software that support the hardware in a way to extend its life cycle as long as possible. So that's in one term, and also the digital ecosystem as a whole, how it affects the environment, how it affects the social sphere, and also how it affects the economy, and how it affects the further development of technology. Because you can develop the product with a philosophy of being free, openly free, available, or you can develop the product which is like the code is not accessible for
proprietary software.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can like drive innovation, or you can keep it for yourself. And that's the thing, how the technology is being developed, and if it's harmonious, and if it's like benefiting us as a society and do not harm the environment in a way it's unfortunately doing it right now.
And would you define it philosophy, right? Because this is the
way of thinking about technology as, trying to keep this harmony, trying to keep this discourse in a way to understand when I, as a developer, bring some kind of a new invention, that I want to make sure that I keep this harmony in a way. My product contributing to the local communities. My product has a model, economical model, which actually is not driving, crazy accumulation of a capital in the hands of one, but it's rather than more about cooperation or sharing with others. And how, if my code is open, how the code is correlated with the hardware, how it's affected, if it's accessible for other people. So there are a lot of things to consider to make sure that I'm developing products, digital products and services in a way they are harmonious and they are helpful. Of course, I will point out the most well-known case of a Fairphone, which is a smartphone. It's a modular smartphone, being built with intention to last. So you can exchange the components. You can exchange. You can also change the software as well. So we make sure that if your software is not longer supported by developer's team, then you can switch it to the open source alternatives. So that's very important. And I see a lot of these cases at the universities where they are like on a very early stage. There are a lot of innovation with biotechnology in a way to change the way we are producing our hardware to being biodegradable. So I see a lot of hope there, and I also see a lot of good examples in hacker communities where they are actually trying to build a software with intention to last for years and not only for a season, and also repairing and upcycling already used hardware and giving it some kind of a different context, but also like extending its life cycle. And I also really, really highly recommend as a first baby step to replace your software for like reading the documents on your computer for Ocular. Ocular is an first open source software officially labeled by German government as a software. It's actually has like a consume not that much energy, and it's a kind of green software. So you can. I highly recommend also read more about this label, because usually this label being granted for like a physical product, but this is the first digital product that went through all the certification process.
Looking for more resources in topics like countering disinformation, cybersecurity, personal and organizational resiliency, building positive narratives, or media literacy? Visit the Hive Mind platform, an online hub with free content, tools, online courses, and ability to connect with digital activists across the globe. Embrace the power of community with Hive Mind.